Hi, and welcome to the video of first Java program on coding platforms. Now we will see what is the structure of the programs, what is the structure of the problems on a coding platform, okay, how they are mentioned. Then we will see what are the common mistakes made by many students when they are just beginning with online coding, with online platform coding, in coding competitions, in competitive coding, when they are just beginning, what are the common mistakes that they make in the starting. Okay, and then we will see what is the correct way to write the code. Fine. So for example, if the problem statement given to me is this: you are given two integers represented by a and b. You are given two integers represented by a and b, and various mathematical operations need to be performed on them. Operations are addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So you are given two integers that is represented, for example, by variable a and variable b, and you have operations of addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So what is the input format? Input format is input is of single line containing two space separated integers that are nothing but a and b, containing two space separated integers which are a and b, and the output format is print the result of a plus b, a minus b, and a multiplication b in different lines. Now each and every word is important here. Now for example, sample input is 5 and 6, that is we have given two space separated integers 5 and 6. Okay, and the sample output for them is 5 plus 6, that is 11, 5 minus 6, that is 1 minus 1, and 5 into 6, that is nothing but 30. Okay, so this is my sample output. Now let's write a code for this. Let's write the simple code for this. How you will write a Java program for this? Okay, let's see. So this is our problem statement. Okay, this is our problem statement. Fine, we have our input format, we have our output format. We just have to write a simple code down for this. Okay, the software that I am using, the IDE that I am using is IntelliJ IDE. Okay, so this is a very good software, a very good IDE for Java. Okay, if you want, you just have to download it from its site. Okay, just download the community edition. Now let's begin. So first write main function ps, okay, public static void main function. In this, after writing public static void main, now what we need, so let's see the first line. Input is of single line containing two space separated integers. So we need two variables to store these integers. So int a comma int b. Fine, int a and int b, we need two integers to store these variables. Fine. Now after this, what we need to take the input. So for input, we will use scanner class of Java. Okay, for user input. So if you are familiar with C, we use scanf in C. Okay, scanner C equals to new scanner system.in. Fine. Now what we need after this is, it's very simple. You have to take user input a and b. Now what the mistake many of you make, let's see. So to print, we will use system.out.println, and to print, let's just print enter the values of a and b. Okay, enter the values of a and b. After that, a equals to sc.nextInt to take the input of a, and b equals to sc.nextInt to take the input of b. Okay, so this is how you take user input. If you're not familiar before watching this video how you take user input in Java, okay, so this is how you take user input in Java. Fine, that is we use a scanner class. We can also use other classes. It is a topic of Java input output, that is of different, that is not of a concern here. Okay, this is just simply you are taking user input as you might have taken in C also using scanf. Fine, so we have a value and we have b value. Now what we need to do, we need to perform these operations: a plus b, a minus b, a multiplication b. Okay, we simply need to perform these operations and nothing else. So perform these operations. Okay, and you have to print the values. Okay, you have to simply print the values. So let's see. So we have a plus b, we have a plus b. Fine, with a plus b we also have a minus b. With a minus b we also have here a multiply b, a multiplication by b. Okay, So these are my values, I am printing it. So this is the code. I have taken two values a and b, and I have printed a plus b, a minus b, and a multiplied by b. Now if I run the code, okay, now I will simply run it and I will show you what is the answer. Fine. So just run the code. So just run the code and this is running, and when it's over, let's see. Yes, so first line that is printed is enter the value of a and b. So we are entering the value of a and b now. So when you enter, for example, 5 for the value of a and 6 for the value of b, so it is printing 5 plus 6 is 11, 5 minus 6 is minus 1, and 30. So outputs are same, 11 minus 1 and 30. So will it accept it? Will it accept? So when we print system.out.println, it is printed on the console, that is it is printed in the output. Fine. Whenever you print something, it is printed in the output. So in this case, what is the final output that is printed? The final output that is printed on the output file, on the output console, is nothing but enter the values. Okay, enter the values of a and b, and also these values are printed, 11 minus 1 and 30. So in the output these two values are printed. Okay, because we use println statement for these two values, so in the output these two statements are printed. But will it are they correct? Are the answers correct? Yes, the answers are definitely correct. Answers are 11 minus 1 30. But will it be accepted? No, it will not be accepted, and it will say that your answer is wrong. That simple question, that is, you are just a plus b, a minus b, or a multiplication b, it will say that your answer is wrong. The reason being, you are not following output format. Okay, you are not following the output format provided by them. Okay, the output format says is you just have to print the result of a plus b, a minus b, a multiplication b, and that too in different lines. Also, they are saying that you just have to print these three values. They are saying that, and they have given the simple output that you have to print just these three values. But what are you printing? You are printing this line also, enter the values of a and b. Okay, and you are printing the answers in a single line, but they said that you have to print the answers in a separate line, okay, but you are not following these two conditions. Okay, they only said that you have to print the output, and they have given the example in a separate lines, but you are also printing enter the values of a and b, which is not in the output file. Also you are printing them in a single line. Okay, so these lines are actually not needed. In competitive programming, you do not have to write every time enter the values of a and b, enter these values, or what do you say, some of you might write this also, a plus b equals to this, a minus b equals to this. So you do not have to write these all lines, guys. Okay, a minus b equals to this, a multiplication b equals to this. So you might write this, you might write these also. Okay, in the output. So what will be in the output file now? In the output file that you have created, it will be enter the values of a and b. This, when we enter the values of a and b, it will write a minus b equals to 11. Sorry, it is a plus b. Okay, a plus b equals to 11, a minus b equals to minus 1, a into b equals to 30. Okay, but actually what they needed, they only needed 11 minus 1 and 30 in a different line, and nothing else, Okay, so you do not have to write this. You have to exactly match what they have said. You have to exactly match what they have said. Okay, so what we need to write, we need to write the values of a plus b, a minus b, and a into b on a separate line. Okay, so a plus b on one line, a minus b in another line, and a into b in another line. Okay, so when I now run it, and you do not have to print this, so I have commented it, so it will be running. See, nothing is printing in the starting. I have to just give them the values, and three values will be printed. So this is in my output because they are printed using print statement. Okay, so this is how you write a program. Okay, you have to take care that you have to exactly match the output. You have to exactly match the output. For example, if we have yes in the output, yes, capital yes, and you are printing small yes, then it will say that the answer is wrong. Okay, or if you are printing first letter capital and two letters small, then it will say the answer is wrong. What you have to do is you have to print exactly the same output that they have mentioned. Okay, exactly the same output that they have mentioned. Okay, if they are mentioning that you have to print the answers in a different line, then you have to print the answers in a different line. Fine. Now let's see one more thing. Now the next problem that many faces is what are test cases. Now for example, I have to test this program for 5 and 6. I did it. I am running it again. Now for the next value, for example 10, 11, these are the answers. Now if I have to test it again for another test case, I have to run it again and see these are the answers. Then I have to run it again, 10 and 19 and 19. So these are the answers. So I have to run these many times if I want to test my program for 10 times. So I have to run the program 10 times. If I have to test the program 20 times, then I have to run the program 20 times. Okay, I'm running it every time if I have to test for different values. So what is the shortcut? The shortcut here is to use a test case variable and a test case loop. Okay, I am doing the same process again and again of running. So to reduce that work, I will use a while loop. I will use a loop. For loop or while loop, I will use a loop because it is the same process that is running again and again. So we can simply use a loop to do that work. Fine. So let's see now another problem statement. Okay, and problem statement is same, but the structure is different now. Now let's see a new problem statement. The problem statement is same, but the structure is different. Let's see. So you are given two integers represented by a and b, and various mathematical operations need to be performed on them. Operations are a plus b, a minus b, a into b. Okay, the input format is different now. The input format is first line of the input contains an integer representing number of test cases. If you want to run a program 5 times, so the test case value will be 5. If you want to test your program for 10 times, then the test case value will be 10. Now each test case consists of a single line containing two space separated integers. Okay, these two space separated integers are a and b. For each test case they will be provided a and b. Fine. What is the output format? The output format is for each test case print the result of all operations space separated. Now you do not have to print line by line. You have to print all the results in a space separated manner. Okay, in a new line for different test case. Now for one test case you have to print all the answers in a single line. Now for another test case you have to use a new line. I will show you this point. So let's see the sample input now. Sample input is first line of input contains an integer representing number of test cases. That means we have two test cases here. The first test case contains a value as 5 and b value as 6. The second test case contains a value as 10 and b value as 10. Okay, and the output for the first test case is 11 minus 130. See, this time they are space separated, not on a new line. And the sample output for the second test case is 20 a plus b, 0 a minus b, and 100 a multiplication by b. So now we have to do this. Okay, this problem now we have to code. Fine. Now what we have a different input format, different input and output format. So let's now code this one. So this is my sample input, this is my sample output. So what is the first line of input says? The first line of input contains an integer representing number of test cases. Okay, so let's get that. So first is nothing but same scanner for the user input, scanner sc equals to new scanner system.in. Okay, system.in. Now what is the next point? The next point is we need a variable, for example t for test cases, and take its input. You do not have to write enter the value of t. That will be wrong because in the output format you just have these two. You just have to write the answers and nothing else in the output format. Okay, now we will be using a loop. We will be using a loop to run these test cases. How many times that loop will run? That loop will run t number of times. How many times? T number of times, because now the test case value is stored in variable t. So while t is not equal to 0, the loop will run. So the code goes here, and at the end of the code we will have t minus minus, that is t value will be decremented by 1. How many times will it run? It will run two times. Okay, first t value is 2 is not equal to 0, code will run, t value will become 1, t minus minus, then t value will become 1 here, so it will be true, the code will run, and now t value will become 0 and it will exit the while loop. Okay, so what is the code? Now inside this what you have to do is inside each test case it is written inside each test case consists of a single line containing two space separated integers. Now we are inside the test case, and there consist of two integers. Okay, let's declare the variables for storing them. So int a and int b. Okay, now take these inputs. So a equals to sc dot next int, and a equals to and b equals to sc dot next int. So we have taken the input fine of a and b. So we have 5 and 6. Okay, for test case 1 we have 5 and 6. Now you have to just print the output and nothing else. Now this time the output is in a single line. The output is in a single line. Fine. So only it is space separated. So a plus b. Now what if I do not write it space separated? A minus b and a multiplied by b. A multiplied by b. Multiplied by b here. So this time I have not separated them with a space. This time I have not separated them with a space. So first is what I have to write. I have to give the values of a and 2. That is the test case. I have two test cases. Then I have to give the values of a and b, 5 and 6. So here is the answer, 11 minus 1 and 30. But this is wrong because they have said that the output should be space separated. So I have to separate them by a space. Okay, now run it again, and then you can see that the output is nothing but space separated. Okay, so we have 2, then 5 and 6. So we have answer here, and then we have a 10 10, and the answer is 2 20 0 10. How it runs? So first t value becomes 2. Okay, 2 is not equal to 0. We will come inside, we will get 5 and 6 as our input, and we will print the answers at the output. Then t will become 1 because of t minus minus. It will come here. Is 1 equal to 0? No, it will come inside. Now we have again user input, which is nothing but 10 and 10. So this is the user input, and then after 10 and 10 is input, then we are simply using the operations. Okay, and printing the value. The value should be printed. The values should be printed in a space separated manner, and for each test case on a different line. Now what a doubt most of you have is that now what we are doing, this is the input format, the sample input, that is 2 5 6 10 10, and output is 11 minus 130 and 20 0 100. But here between these there are many values, that is after 5 6 it is inputting the value before outputting the value, before we can give 10 10 as the input. Okay, but in an online judge these values will be given to the problem. These values will be given to the problem. In the output only these values will remain. For example, if I just copy paste it, okay, if I just copy paste it and see, now you can see these are in a single line. Okay, there is some formatting error, but these are in a different line. So 11 minus 130 is here, and 20 0 100 is here. They are in a different line. Okay, and they are space separated. They are space separated in that line for that test case. So this is how we should handle the test cases. Okay, this is how we should handle the test case loop. Fine. So this was the basic structure of a Java program. When you are coding online, when you are coding on an online platform. Fine, you have to take care of these points. That the output should exactly match with the output format given by the problem setter. Okay, thank you.